And it's 10 a.m. right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Good morning, good evening, wherever the world you might be watching from. It's Business Morning live on Channels Television. So much to unpack today. And yeah, happy Children's Day. And I guess if you're a kid right now, you need to learn financial intelligence, at this point. Learn how to make that investing, because we need to learn the power of investing early in life. And definitely conversations will build around that as we go on. But let's get a check on what's driving sentiment right there in the market. We're seeing oil prices. We've seen an ease there, 0.19%, $64.62 a barrel. That's for Brent. WTI, that's still holding on to that $61 level. It's not really moved much from there, 0.24% down. A bigger drop. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, collectively known as OPEC Plus, will likely finalize July output at the meeting. That's the latest upcoming meeting there. So it's all about output hikes at this point, and that's driving sentiment right there in the market. All right, to other stories now. We see export revenue. That's the discussion right now. We see the Dangote Industries Limited, according to Mr. Aliko Dangote, has revealed plans to begin exporting approximately 16,000 tons of fertilizer daily within the next 2 years. Move is expected to generate between $6.5 million and $7 million in daily revenue for Nigeria. So Dangote made this announcement during a courtesy visit to the Nigerian Ports Authority headquarters in Marina, Lagos. He noted that the fertilizer exports would position his company as a leading contributor to the nation's foreign exchange earnings. He also stated, with this export program, Dangote Industries will become a key driver of forex inflows into the country. And the World Bank has called on the Nigerian federal government to issue a presidential directive increasing excise duties on sin goods, including alcohol, tobacco, and sugary beverages, as a key condition for unlocking a $750 million loan aimed at boosting the country's non-oil revenue. This directive is outlined in the bank's latest implementation status and results report for the Accelerating Resource Mobilization Reforms Program for Results, which became effective October 14, 2024, and is scheduled to close by November 2028. According to the report, at least $10 million in loan disbursements is contingent upon the issuance of this directive. So far, Nigeria has received about $1.68 million, just 0.25% of the total loan. Those 6 reform milestones, valued at $234 million, have reportedly been achieved and are awaiting verification. As Dr. Akinwumi Adesina completes his tenure as the president of the African Development Group in September this year, the bank is preparing a selection process for a successor with its annual meeting in Abidjan, the capital of Cote d'Ivoire. The meeting, which is scheduled for the next 5 days, would be a time for the AFDB's Board of Governors to discuss issues connecting to the election, the continent's capital, as well as the launch of the 2025 African Economic Outlook. Our correspondent, John McCrory, is there and is following the meetings.
The final week in the month of May 2025 is a memorable one for the African Development Bank Group. It's a week that they're having their annual meetings for this year. So for this week, it's going to be a very busy one with delegates of over 6,000 comprising heads of state, party representatives from the private sectors, the NGOs, and everyone, in fact, will gather, everyone of importance, that is, will gather in Abidjan to make some decisions. So the conversation will be around the theme for this year, which is making Africa's capital work better for Africa's development. But the climax of the meeting for this week is that the group is going to elect a new president as the tenure of Dr. Akinwumi Adesina comes to an end.
A round of applause for Mr. President, please.
To kickstart the series of meetings, the president, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, holds a welcome breakfast with invited media from major countries in the continent, represented along with senior management of the bank. The essence is to capture as much as possible his strides at the bank in 10 years. One of his proud achievements is leading the bank to achieve a capital increase from $93 billion in 2015 to $318 billion today.
Another 300 million Africans will have access to electricity by 2030. These are not just figures. These are futures. These are about hope that's being realized.
As he prepares to pass the baton, he says he's confident that his successor will build on the path of global financial innovation and impact, which he has started.
We are deepening regional integration, and we are preparing Africa to lead on food security, energy access, digital transformation, and climate resilience.
Members and representatives from 91 countries have gathered to witness the process that will unveil a new president who's expected to continue the work of development in Africa at a time when trade tariff and aid cut are top issues for governments to deal with. Ini John Mekwa, Channels Television News.
All right, straight up, let's get a check of what's playing out in the commodities market. And we have Mr. Bismarck Rwani, CEO of Financial Derivatives Company. Great to have you on the show, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Rwani. I guess at this point, I don't know if I should be wishing you Happy Children's Day, but
Yes.
yeah, Happy Children's Day at this point. And you know,
Happy Children's Day for all the children out there.
exactly.
Because
Yes, and
they are the present. The children are the present, not the future.
exactly. Yeah. And
And
we
the
know
present.
everything that's happening in these markets also affect how the funds and, you know, childcare, how it gets to the children, you know, at this point. And we're seeing, things are not as easy, you know, as they used to be. So how are you seeing these times, you know, bringing up kids, you know, at this point?
Yeah. Okay, so let me start off by saying, okay, Happy Children's Day, as you said. But the most important news that will be being awaited in the markets today and maybe tomorrow is the GDP numbers. It was expected to be released yesterday. We haven't got it today, but maybe we'll get it later today or maybe tomorrow. But the projections are that the GDP numbers will come out at 3.48. Lower than 3.42, lower than 3.84 of last quarter. But the good news is that in the first quarter of the year, in the past 5 or 10 years, the first quarter always shows lower output because of the post-Christmas, post-New Year activities. So you have that. And so coming in at the projected figure of 3.42 will not be a bad outing. Also, there's a big question of rebasing of the GDP, which we did many, many years ago. But the rebasing is work in progress. So using the old methodology, we have 3.84. But you see, to achieve a $1 trillion economy, which is the aspiration and the goal of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we need to be growing at an average of almost 14–15% a year. We are not going to jump from 3% to 14–15%. So let's accept that. Now that's a good aspiration, but it's not going to happen very quickly. Certain things have to change for it to happen, including power supply, including that. However, if, let us say, for example, that the numbers come out at 3.6 or 3.4, higher than anticipated, what will happen is that will be a major impetus, an incentive for the Central Bank of Nigeria to actually begin to lower rates at the next meeting in May. And what is the relationship between those rates, one, and the price of goods in the market, which is the commodity prices? Now, what has happened because of the stability of the exchange rate and most of the substitutes, food substitutes in the food basket are imported items, we are beginning to see a stability and even a decline in food prices. And if you look at it very carefully, you will see that most of the commodities we are showing today are showing decline, especially Gari, which is down by 5% to 36,000. Rice is down to 80,000. Even in fact, it had gone lower, but just came up to 80,000. Tomatoes, which had gone to the roof at 70,000, is now down to 50,000. And pepper is down to 140,000. Onions went up, is the only outlier. And vegetable oil is down to 17,500. One, because people have no money to buy it. Two, because the imported substitutes are coming in cheaper. And three, the whole rumor about rice being poisonous and all of that has brought down the price of rice. So that is what we are seeing. But one thing we must bear in mind is that the Naira has depreciated marginally because of just marginally. So let's say that it's trading flat. Price of cocoa has come down by 5% to about 9,700, still way 200, 300% higher than what it was 2-3 years ago. So folks in Ekiti, folks in Ondo State, folks in Isenyi in Oyo State are all laughing to the bank with more dollars and more products. So pump price, you said Elijah Aliko Dangote saying very clearly that it's going to be receiving about $7 billion from exports of fertilizers next year. That's a big, big deal, which means that our exports from fertilizer will exceed our export from cocoa. So that is what you call this value-added activity, right? Because you're using urea, using gas, and converting it to fertilizer and selling it across the coast of Africa. So that's a very important thing.
Right.
And also, because of the price of fertilizer, because the increase in supply of fertilizer will have increased food output and bring down food inflation.
All right, so Mr. Ronnie, let's look at the oil market now, and definitely it's all about the output hikes at this point. What we're seeing from OPEC Plus, do you think is sustainable? And it's definitely looking like it's going to be a problem for government revenue in Nigeria.
Yes, it's not only a problem for government revenue; it's a problem for our exchange rate. At $64 a barrel, don't forget that from January this year to now, the dollar has lost almost 7 or 8% of its value against a basket of currencies. So the $64 of today is the same thing as $58 in January. So let us say nominally or effectively, we are getting $58 or $59 a barrel. What does this mean? It means that our revenue from oil, our export revenues will drop, our inflow into the foreign exchange market will drop, and the Naira will be weakened fundamentally because of that. Why is the price of oil coming down? OPEC Plus wants to increase prices. There's a possibility of an Iran-US deal on nuclear containment rather than proliferation. So if this happens and the price of oil goes down to where it is now or lower, then we are under pressure. And that pressure means that our Naira could easily trade at the 1700 range from where it is now at about 1590, 1600. Not too much, but it's enough because every 1% depreciation in the currency leads to about a 0.23% increase in inflation across the board. So that's one thing we have to bear in mind as we play the scenario for the end of the second quarter. That's a very major issue that we have to think about.
Okay.
Not only, and also, the other thing is that because Dangote has brought down the price, today the price of petrol is $8.75 and the price of diesel is $970. For the first time in 7-8 months, the price of diesel is below 1,000 naira. Can you believe that?
Wow, that's quite incredible, and
that is a big deal.
Right.
So because that makes alternative power cheaper, but anything also transportation because the trucks and the lorries use diesel. That could be a major factor in bringing down the price of foodstuff across the country.
All right, I guess that's where we'll truly feel the impact or the expectations there for lower inflation going forward, the energy prices, coming down. But thank you so much, Mr. Rouhani. It's always great having your perspective on the show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we're going to be looking at the pineapple value chain right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Where is the opportunity? That's next. So stay with us. All right, today we're joined by a visionary agripreneur and a respected voice in both agriculture and business development in Nigeria. Ambassador Segun Alabi is the CEO of Davidola Nigeria Limited and the founder of Davidola Farms, a leading name in organic pineapple estate development and management. With over 8 years of experience, Abidjan has grown to become the largest pineapple farm estate in Nigeria and West Africa. And we also have joining us for this conversation, we have Jelilat Olarinde. She joined us via Zoom. So Baseki Ernest right here in the studio, and with the Ambassador Segun Alabi. Great to have you both.
Thank you. Thank you.
So definitely, once you hear a pineapple estate, you might think, this is an estate where there are pineapples.
Yeah.
At this point, you try to imagine how you can actually, take advantage of it. But before we get into that, I knew you were at the National Assembly.
Yes.
At some point
Yes,
last week. Talk to me about what happened.
Okay. We were in the National Assembly last week for press briefing, and what we are trying to do is to make Nigerians to understand the advantage in Agric business. Because what is happening globally now, if Nigeria can take advantage of this, unemployment will be a past experience in Nigeria. And that is what we want the government to know and to understand, that we should put more focus on agriculture than any other thing, because that is the sector that can employ the largest labor in Nigeria.
Right, and I'm wondering, at this point, why pineapple? I know I love pineapple. I love to juice pineapples and all that, but why pineapple?
All right. We actually didn't start from pineapple. We've done quite numbers of agri produce, such as cassava, maize, watermelon, vegetables, pepper. But from our experience, we discover that all other agricultural business, their produce, there are a lot of challenge there. And you will discover that because of this challenge, a lot of people try to move away from agriculture. But come to think of, of pineapple, number one, cow doesn't eat it. We've had experience where we had about 40 hectares of cassava, maize, and cow finish everything. But pineapple is a unique product. So your investment is guaranteed, because you know that,
so it's cow-proof.
It's cow-proof. I love that word. It's cow-proof.
Right.
And then another thing is pineapple has the highest enzyme called bromelain, which can help build immune system. So, and because of that, there's a lot of demand in pineapple around the world. And Nigeria can take advantage of this by becoming the hub of pineapple for the rest of the world.
I'm talking about the rest of the world at this point. What do you think the global consumption and production is like? And who is leading, in production, in your opinion?
Okay, in production, Nigeria is number 8 around the world. The number 8 in production of pineapple. But funny enough, we are not even producing enough for us to consume. You imagine you have family of 1,000, and then you are producing 500 or 400. Even other family who have about maybe 200, they can be producing 250. But you are producing higher, but you can't feed your people because you have the number, you have the population that you are unable to meet up with their demand in terms of pineapple and other products. So Nigeria is still, despite the fact that we are number 8 in the world, we can become number 1. And that is what David Ola is trying to do, to make sure Nigeria becomes number 1 in the world. Because the demand for pineapple, I was in New Jersey last month, and I have a couple of meetings with stakeholders in the New Jersey. Right now, they are giving us opportunity to be exporting pineapple to America. So these are the opportunities that is opening up. And another thing is, there's a lot of value chain in pineapple that when Nigeria can keep into that, unemployment will be a past experience.
Right. And, talking about diaspora at this point, I know we have Jelilat Olarinde. She's an estate owner. At this point, she's with us via Zoom. Good morning, Ms. Jelilat. Great to have you.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Fantastic. So, he was talking about, diaspora at this point and exporting. That's the export business, when it comes to that pineapple value chain. I'd like to get your experience, because you're an investor and you're not present in the country. Talk to me about your experience.
Well, I've been with David Dollar since 2023, and I must say they have done well. They are trustworthy, so that keeps you at rest. Personally, I've not even seen my land on 101, and I've been receiving my returns since then. At least I've received returns twice. So I see that there's it's a pineapple. It's actually a big market, and I see that there's a lot of opportunities in the in pineapple farming.
Right.
And most importantly, it's a way of contributing your own quota to Nigeria. We can't all sit by the sidelines and hope everything will change. So that's why I'm involved.
So, definitely as an investor, you're trying to turn 10 naira maybe into 20 naira, or maybe to 30 naira at this point. What would you say is the earning potential, that you've experienced?
Well, so far so good. The good thing about David Dollar is you're buying the pineapple farm and you own the land. So all they would do would be to plant pineapple on it and give you rental income at the end of every year. I believe 36%. So it's a win-win for everyone. You're not only you're contributing to the economy, but also the fact that um, you're contributing to a global market, to a pineapple global market. So you also, if you don't want the land anymore, if you don't want the bid to go on with the David Dollar anymore, you have a land for yourself. So it's a win-win for everyone. David Dollar is helping you leverage with your investment, ensuring you get returns on your investment, and you own a land that you can decide not to use for pineapple in the future. And so it's a win-win.
All right, that definitely sounds good. I guess you're not trapped in that
Exactly.
business, at this point. But let me bring it down to Mr. Basiki, and as you're also an estate owner,
Yes.
Definitely you've heard what Madam Jalila said there, and you are here, so I'm sure you've seen your plot.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Tell me about it.
Let me start from the beginning. It was one fateful morning. I was just throwing through my television. I went to TVC and I saw him talking about pineapple. Immediately, I told my wife, I said, because we had a very bad experience just about 2 years back. I said, this one looks like something that could be good for us. My wife said, after all the money we lost, I said, don't worry. There's a saying that if you close your eyes, you don't want to see a bad person. A good person may just pass by. So I picked up the phone numbers on the screen and I followed it up. The first thing, I went to the site, I saw everything. The second time again, I was shocked what I saw. I said, this is a place to invest. And since then, I've never looked back. I've introduced my junior ones into it, they bought into it. Even my company, one of our companies has even bought into the farm. So since then, our October is our payday. Every October, we get our lot.
Right. So I guess we're patiently waiting for October at this point. Okay. So, definitely it's good once, you have a good experience, in an investment. It gives you the courage to actually, try to, get other people, because you want them to also profit,
yes.
I guess,
yes.
at this point. But we're going to continue the conversation, in just a moment, just for our viewers on DSTV. We're joining the live coverage there. The theme of event is the Agile Games at the State Banquet Hall in Abuja, and that's an organization called Visual Flow Media there. So we'll be joining that. That's for DSTV viewers, but on other platforms, we're still live here, and we're talking about pineapples at this point and the opportunities, so far. Let me come to you now, Ms. Ambassador Shego. So definitely, we've heard from, the two of your subscribers now. Good experience, so far. How would you describe the demand, for these plots, so far?
The demand is high, but you know what? Because our vision is to make Nigeria the hub of pineapple around the world. The first, the leading, because we have the sweetest. In fact, I used to call pineapple king of fruit, but I was being corrected when I had a meeting in the US, and then the woman said, no, pineapple cannot be king, that pineapple has crown, and it's only queen that has crown. And because pineapple is sweet, so we can call pineapple queen.
The queen
of the fruit.
Okay.
So the demand is so high, and we are expanding more and more. For example, the phase 1 has been sold out completely. So we are in the phase 2 now. So there's still opportunity for people to be part of this, because if you keep money in the bank, it doesn't yield anything. If you buy land and you are not building for the next 5 years, that land will just be there. You will even be spending money to keep that particular portion of land alive, because you don't want Omonida to take it from you. But if you buy pineapple farm, the pineapple farm belongs to you. David Dollar is managing it for you, and it's increasing in value. For example, those who bought about 5-6 years ago now, and they want to sell what they've bought that time. At last 5 years ago, we were selling, I think, one plot for 700,000 or 500,000 naira, an acre for 4 million naira. But today, it's more than 15 million. So if you want to renew your agreement with us and to continue managing it for you, your percentage is going to be calculated on the prevailing market value as of today. So which means you are getting money on a yearly basis on your land, and your land is increasing in value. I think it's a win-win, just like Madam Jalila said.
Right, and I'm talking about win-win. You know, most of the time with investment, there's always that element of risk. It's never really risk-free, the way you look at it. But there's also that issue of climate change. And this is something that, depends on nature, to grow. So talk to me about the risk of climate change.
All right.
On this business.
Thank you. When we are talking about risk, life itself is a risk. Moving from one room to the other is a risk.
Right.
But what are you doing to mitigate this risk when it comes to agriculture or farming? I'm talking about climatic condition or climate change now, which is causing global warming. If you are not futuristic, you are going to be left behind. And in terms of, let me just narrow it down to pineapple, which we are doing. Number one, we make sure that our pineapple farm estate is being insured with a reputable insurance company in Nigeria. That is the first thing. Because I believe that we do life insurance not because we want to die tomorrow. Because when you're looking at pineapple, I made mention earlier that we've tried a lot of Agric produce, and we've come to realize that if you give me 1 billion today to do other things, I would rather say no if it is not pineapple, because the demand is there and it's more secured, the return is guaranteed. So, and when we are talking about pineapple and talking about risk, number one, insurance.
How resilient is the fruit?
That is where I'm just going to.
Okay.
Pineapple is so resilient, and you can try this thing. If you put fire in the pineapple farm now, today, and it looks like everything is already dead, give that pineapple to just taste water. It will sprout again because it doesn't die. Pineapple have nothing less than 50 years lifespan because it will keep producing, And one of the major challenges in pineapple farming is actually dry season. It's actually dry weather. And so if you know that, okay, there's a solution to that. In our farm now, we have several boreholes. So if there's any drought that we are experiencing, we can start up the borehole and then water the farm. So in terms of in terms of risk, that has been mitigated.
Right, and definitely we as investors, you always want that risk minimized.
Definitely,
as much as possible. But talk to me about how people can benefit from this.
All right, there are several ways where people can benefit from become pineapple farm owner, because Mr. Obaseki now, is our boss, because we are managing their property for them.
So he tells you what to do.
Technically. Now, how can you be part of this? As of today, a plot of pineapple farm is 2,990,000 naira. As of today. I mean, no, 2,990,000. That's almost 3 million.
Almost 3 million.
Million naira.
Right.
But for the sake of people who are here today, we're going to give them a discount, a bonus. For the people who are even hearing or seeing us for the first time. Now, if you buy a plot, what comes to you? Number one, you are the owner. You get all the documents such as deed of assignment, registered survey with Ogun State government. You get all the documents that prove that you are the owner and the individual manage this property for you. Now, let's use one plot as an example. If you buy a plot of land, you get 36% of your purchase price. Whatever you pay is what you get, the 36% on it for the next 5 years. After 5 years, what happened? Now, if we manage the farm for you for the next 5 years and we are paying you your rent every year, we call it, because from the day you made payment, that is the day you start counting. So within that month, because we always love to do everything together, to pay one person today, pay one person tomorrow. So at the end of the month, from the last week of every month, we pay everybody who make purchase in that month. So you get 36% of your purchase price. We manage it for you for a period of 5 years. At the end of the 50 years, you have 3 things to do. You can say, okay, David Ola, I love the way you have been doing for the past 5 years, and I want you to continue managing my farm for me. Now, you are buying today at a rate of 2,999,000 naira, almost 3 million naira, and then maybe in the next 5 years now, the worth of that farm is now 15 million naira or 10 million naira, depending on the market value and the demand. Now you want us to continue managing it for you. Your percentage, this 36% now will now be calculated on the prevailing market price. If you also say, okay, I want to sell my property, you will also sell at the prevailing market price. And the good thing is that David Ola is the first refuser. What that means is that the property you are buying now, you have market for it. You have somebody that want to buy it when the time of management expires. You know, at times you might have land or property somewhere and you are in need of money, you want to sell. 1 year, 6 months down the line, you might still be looking for somebody that is going to buy it from you. You may not see. But in David Ola, we have covered that. And one thing is,
that means there's a buyer always.
There's always a buyer standby. And another thing is that the 36% is coming to you directly. There is nothing, you're not removing anything from it. And we are not asking you for anything for the next 5 years that, oh, bring this thing. You know, if you build a house now, even if you put a tenant there and one tenant is backing out, you have to do some renovation and all of those things. But in this kind of...
You're not renovating the farm.
We're not renovating.
Or maybe try to make it look
that is how
fancy.
That is how it works. But for today, I don't know if you want me to tell our viewer now about the bonus or the advantage of watching this.
It's Children's
program.
Day. Why not?
And because it's Children's Day, we have to give something.
We have to give something
for the children. Okay. Now, for the first 200 people that's going to be part of this today, right now, instead of you paying 2,999,000 naira, we are giving you for 2.5 million naira.
Wow.
Per plot.
Okay. 2.5 million. That's about 300K wiped off of us.
Almost almost 500,000 wiped off. Now, the documentation that comes with it, like I made mention earlier, is 350,000 naira. That one is different from purchase per plot. Now, I still want to give them more advantage. For somebody who is buying between 1 plot to 5 plots, you have additional discount of 250,000 naira. So either of you, if you are buying 2 plots now, instead of you to pay 5 million naira, you pay 4,750,000 naira. So you have additional 250,000 if you are buying 2 plots, of 3 plots, 4 plots, 5 plots. Now, if you are buying an acre is 6 plots of land.
Right.
So if you are buying an acre, you have another advantage. The advantage you are having, if you are buying 1 acre, you are going to have another 500,000 naira. From what? So
that's a discount.
So that's another discount.
Another discount
for the first 200 people.
Wow.
And I think it's a good time
that's a good one.
To celebrate the children.
To celebrate children that we can leave something
behind.
Nice.
Because a good man leaves inheritance for his children and his children's children.
Exactly.
Because this pineapple farm now is one of the inheritance you can leave for your children and children. In fact, I have somebody who lives in Canada. He bought for himself, the dad bought, and he also buys for all the children. And I think it's good. It's the best. It's one of the best legacies, just like education, you can give to your children. Not
Right.
that tomorrow's or your children is now moving up and down. Let us help Nigeria. I said something last week that nation building is a collective effort. If government can only do what they are doing, let us also join our force together and build in Nigeria, because pineapple alone can solve the problem of unemployment in Nigeria.
That's quite interesting. And we're looking to diversify, revenue at this point, especially government revenue. But still on this discount, I want to come to Mr. Obaseki now. I want you to let me in on your own discount when you were getting in, at this point. And what price were we looking at, when you were
when we bought it at 1.5.
Wow.
1.5. And since then, we'll be getting our money entering our account.
And you don't have to call at some point and say,
no. In fact,
I've not gotten my alert.
Last year, I was wondering when I saw an alert. I said, from where? Before I remember that. It's from David Dola. There's one thing I want to say concerning David Dola. The second time I went there, I was shocked when I saw what he was doing for the community, that area. He just dug a borehole for them. I was shocked. I said, this must be real. This is not a company that one should just this one will go far. Because if you do such a thing for the community, they will never forget you, and they will always be with you, protect you and guide you. So that's one thing I really want to say concerning David Dola. And we know it's a good place to invest.
And we know definitely there's also, we have those macroeconomic headwinds, like, the currency devaluation, what we're seeing with the Naira and inflation at this point. Do you think you're beating inflation with your investment? What have you seen so far?
Yeah.
Or you're making some kind of win?
I would say a win-win, because this is a business, this is an investment that you drop your money there. You don't know what happens there. Only at the end of the year, you just get your money back. So your interest back. So it's a win-win, because you are not making any effort for any you are not really being a part of the management and all other things. Even the risk,
you don't need to take
even the risk that is involved. You are not supposed to. You are not part of the risk. So it's a good investment that one should really look at. And
sometimes you go around walking around your plot to just feel nature and all of that.
Once in a while, I'll go there. Okay. Once in a while. In fact, this coming Saturday, I'll be going there because my company has bought another farm.
Fantastic. All right, let's also bring Madam Jalilat into the conversation there. So definitely, you're not in Nigeria, so definitely you don't have that currency risk, I believe, at this point, but I'm sure you still have some Naira. Talk to me about how you're seeing, the investment here, and do you think, people in diaspora are also keen on, locking investment and, since they're coming in with foreign currency?
Well, yes, it's a good investment for anyone and everyone, both home and abroad. It's the current rate of dollar to Naira also makes it easy for anyone abroad anyway. And not only would we be able to contribute our own quota to Nigeria's economy and stop complaining online, but would also be solving a problem of providing pineapple to everyone anywhere in the world. So yeah.
Right. So I guess diaspora is taking advantage of currency, the currency strength, there,
yes.
and bringing it back home, which is definitely a good one. But are you looking at expanding into other fruits, or we're just strictly pineapple at this point?
As a matter of fact, when you are feeding 1 million people, and then what you are giving to them at every week or every month, the 1 million becomes a geometric program. What do I mean by that? 1 million becomes another 1.5, another 1.6, another 1.8, and you are unable to feed this particular set of people. Why do you have to diversify? So as far as the $1 is concerned, just like I made mention earlier, what we are doing is pineapple, and we are not ready to move away from pineapple. The only thing we are doing is to add more value to pineapple, just like Mr. Obaseki said. Next week now, we are going to, those who have bought from us for the past 5-6 months, we are giving them their allocation. You know, there are some people that when you buy land from them, 1 year, 2 years, you are still looking for allocation, but you won't get it. But for us, within 3-5 months, we always allocate people's farmland to them. So we are adding value to it. And one of the things we are doing right now, you know, when we are talking about value chain in pineapple, which I didn't mention earlier, in pineapple you can make concentrate. In pineapple you can make clothing. In pineapple you can make shoe. In pineapple you can make plastic spoon, takeaway. There are a lot of value chain in pineapple. And coming to health issue and health-wise, pineapple has the highest enzyme, which is called bromelain, that increase our immune system. As of today, all companies in Nigeria who are into fruit juice or beverage, they are importing pineapple concentrate. And one good thing about pineapple concentrate is that you can mix it with any other flavor and it will still get the best. And because of the health wisely, the pineapple concentrate is one of the best fruit concentrate you can talk about. Now, we have pineapple. What can we do? So the next phase of the $1 now is to convert our pineapple into pineapple concentrate. And I'm telling you, within the next 3, 4, 5 months now, we're going to be unveiling the first pineapple farm, the first pineapple concentrate in Nigeria.
Right.
And the third in the whole of West Africa.
I definitely wish you luck, good luck in that. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, investing, you know, some have the lump sum, some don't.
That's correct.
And, you know, with the cost of living crisis, some people would like to pay small for an investment. Is that possible?
Yes, that's possible. For example, now if you are buying between 1 plot to 5 plots, you have a window of 3 months to make all the payments. That you can stagger your payment. You just make 500,000 naira deposit on each 1 plot. So if you are buying 3 plots, you know that you are making deposit of 1.5 million. If you are buying 4 plots, you are making deposit of 2 million naira. And within 3 months, you complete your payment. Now, if you are buying an acre, you have a window of 6 months for you to complete your payment.
All right, so definitely, you did say, you know, private sector, you know, needs to, you know, come together. It's not all the time that you have to look for government intervention, but we'd like to see government participate. How would you see the government participate in this business? What would you like to see?
Now, if you ask me, like you have rightly said, what do I want government to do, or what we are expecting from government? All we are asking for is an enabling environment. Because when an environment is enabled, you will discover that it's going to be a lot of entrepreneurs that will be making way. Because I'm telling you, government cannot be the only one that will build in Nigeria. Let me put it that way. I've not seen and I've not read that any Western world is being built by government. America, Berlin, Germany, all of this global area were built by entrepreneurs. But one of the things that their government is doing is to create an enabling environment for business to thrive. And if we can have that in Nigeria, our problem is 90% solved.
90%. I'll take 90%. Definitely. Thank you so much. It was great having this conversation with all three of you. That was Ambassador Segun Alabi, the CEO, Davidola Nigeria Limited. We also had Jalila Tolarinde, an estate owner. She joined us via Zoom. Okay,
because
final thoughts?
I presume that people are asking that how can we reach you, and we've not.
Definitely.
Say that. Now, for you to reach us, please, I want you to pick this number, 081 164 64307. I want to say it again.
Say it again.
On WhatsApp. This particular number is on WhatsApp alone. 081 164 64307. And for you to reach us directly, you can reach us through this number, 091 5535 9764. Let me take it again. 091 5535 9764.
Right,
And you can also reach us
there.
on our Instagram at Davidola_farms on our Instagram.
Right, I'm definitely going to check out your Instagram.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for coming on today. It was great having this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we're going to head straight to the global economy, see what's driving sentiment right there. That's in a moment. Just stay with us.
There are 1,001 ways to start your day.
Whether you're in Lagos, Nigeria,
In London or anywhere in the world,
or online.
We all want a perfect start to our day, don't we?
7 a.m. Every weekday, we bring you a better way to start your day. Breaking news.
Again with the latest Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Developing stories. And the conversations that matter.
We see an increase because of the economic pressure on them. The people are paying more for crossing borders irregularly.
Get a glimpse of the world around you on The World Today. Weekdays at this time.
With the details, Will, how's it looking?
It's looking good, but in the UK, not so great. Let's jump in and see what's happening there in that space. Food inflation in the UK rose for the fourth straight in May, 2.8% year on year, according to the British Retail Consortium, and that's up from 2.6% in April and above the 3-month average. The main driver was a spike in fresh food prices. BRC boss Helen Dickinson pointed to rising wholesale beef costs as a key factor behind the continued upward trend. Now, French consumer inflation came in below forecast in May, rising just 0.6% year on year, according to preliminary figures from statistics agency INSEE. Analysts had expected a 0.9% rise, but the actual figure underperformed even the lowest estimates. The data, based on the EU harmonized index, suggests inflationary pressure in France may be easing more than expected. Now, still on consumer prices, consumer sentiment in Germany is showing mild improvement as the country moves into June, according to a joint survey by the GfK and the Nuremberg Institute for Market Decisions released on Tuesday. The headline index rose by 0.9 points to a negative 19.9, slightly below the analyst's forecast of negative 19.8. And this marks a cautious step forward, but remains deeply negative, reflecting persistent consumer pessimism. Despite the uptick, researchers say Germans are still reluctant to spend, limiting the potential for a stronger recovery in Europe's largest economy. Now, the European Union and the United States are accelerating negotiations to ease trade tensions following a weekend phone call between EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and US President Donald Trump. Commission spokesperson Paula Pino said Monday that both sides agreed to fast-track discussions and maintain regular contact. The talks aim to resolve a growing rift after Trump threatened to impose a 50% tariff on EU imports starting June the 1st. That threat has now been delayed until July the 9th after von der Leyen requested more time to reach a potential agreement. Now, still with the UK, British Universal Bank and Financial Services Group HSBC has laid off over 2,000 analysts, including global fixed income head Stephen Major, a part of a restructuring of its investment banking division, according to reports. Now, the bank is merging macro strategy teams across FX and fixed income. Murat Ulgen becomes interim head of macro strategy, while Elliot Camplison and Raj Sinha will co-lead global equity research. Now, most costs occurred in Europe. Meanwhile, Janet Henry remains head of global economics. Now in Japan, yields on super long government bonds dropped sharply Tuesday after a report showed the finance minister may reduce issuance this year. Now the 30-year yield fell 18.5 basis points to 2.85%, while the 20 and 40-year yields also slid, reversing earlier highs. The move follows speculation that Tokyo could tweak its bond program to calm recent market volatility. Shorter-term yields edged higher as investors bet the government might shift issuance towards shorter maturities. The report comes after weak demand at last week's bond auction and growing concerns about reduced support from the Bank of Japan. Still in Asia, China's industrial profits rose 3% in April, up from 2.6% in March, as government support helped offset U.S. tariff pressure and weak demand. Gains came mainly from high-tech and equipment manufacturing, lifting January-April profits by 1.4% year-on-year. Now, mining and auto sectors also saw declines, while private firms outperformed state-owned ones. Analysts say Beijing's subsidies and payment reforms cushioned external shocks, but warn that low demand and global uncertainty still pose risk. Still in China, shares of Chinese automakers extended losses Tuesday amid fears of a deepening EV price war and regulatory scrutiny. BYD fell as much as 4% after slumping over 9% on Monday, despite hitting a record high last week. Other car makers also dipped. Geely dropped 3.16%, Great Wall Motor 1.1%, Li Auto 2.37%, and Xpeng 1.73%. The declines follow BYD's price cuts on 22 EV and hybrid models and reports regulators are probing automakers for artificially inflating sales via zero-mileage cars resold as used. Analysts warn of short-term margin pressure for BYD, though Morningstar and Citi say rising foot traffic and lower battery costs may help offset the hit if volume increases. Still on EVs, Tesla's car sales in Europe fell 49% year-on-year in April to 7,261 units, even as the region's EV market grew 34%, according to ASEA data. The drop follows brand damage from CEO Elon Musk's political ties to Donald Trump, which sparked protests across Europe. Tesla sales have also fallen nearly 40% year-to-date. And rising competition from legal automakers and Chinese brands like BYD, which outsold Tesla last month, and lack of hybrid offerings are further weighing on demand. And that's the news we have from the global space. We'll have more for you tomorrow, so stay tuned. Laddie.
Right, definitely. We'll be back again at 1 p.m. to bring you up to speed on what's playing out with most of these markets that we track. Thank you so much, Will, there. I'm wondering when they'll give Elon Musk a break at this point. All right, that's the most we can take. Laddie Williams from the team right here at Channels HQ. It's bye for now.